Hi, today we're going to talk about the importance of sketching and what it does. So, a lot of people ask these questions as to what software you use to design, but I think that more than a software, the initial stages are always better in the form of sketches because sketches are a direct translation of what is going through your head. And more importantly, you can see every aspect of what you need to do all around you. For instance, if one has to start from a computer screen, you have a screen which is really small size. If you want to go into detail into that drawing, like for instance, this is a 100-acre site situated between hills in Udaipur. And the contours are very complicated. So there are portions of these which are like hillocks. They are going up to 12 meters. Somewhere is just 4 or 8 meters. Somewhere is 16 meters. And then there is a shallow portion down below. To understand all of that, you would have to keep panning across the entire site. And if you zoom into the whole site, you will not be able to read the contours. So therefore, I've done here, this is the way I always start. You do a large printout, so you're able to see these contours. And because these contours were so complicated, we had a 3D model made of the contours to understand how there are different levels on the side. So this is where software comes in. It helps you to design. So you've got the contour plans here, which show how different hillocks are there in this, and there is a substantial area which is connected at a lower level as well. And then when one starts taking spot sections through the site, all of this is to understand how the site is. So there are slopes from 9 to 0, from 12 to 0, from 15 to 0, from 16 going down to 0, coming back to 12, from 12 coming to 0, going back to 9, from 10 coming back to 0, going to 8. So that's various sections through the site which you're looking at simultaneously. You're looking at the site model. You have a complete scaled drawing in front of you. And then you have the client's requirements, which are about 250 rooms. There are 40 to 50 villas to be done individually with 2 or 3 bedrooms in each, and some of them with pools. 2 large banquet hall spaces, 1 main all-day dining restaurant, plus 2 specialty restaurants, plus 2 bars, plus a lot of service area and back of the house spaces, and residential service staff quarters within the site, because this is a large 300 room resort that is going to be built. So it's very important that a certain amount of the service staff is on site at all times 24/7. And then a large number of activities to be planned within this, so that when people come in here, every time they come in, this was the brief given to us, that they need to keep coming to be able to experience all of that this property has to offer. So now, spread over this large table, which is 10 feet long, you've got the requirements, the site model, the overall site on scale, various spot sections taken through the site, and an overall look after having gone to site and seen that the access road only happens from the eastern side, and towards the north there are hills in the close proximity, and towards the south there are far off views of the hills. So entire understanding of the site is there. Now you do the maths of the site, and you see that this will obviously be low density, because within 100 acres, let's say we have to make an overall of 300 rooms. That translates into about 300,000 square feet of built up area. So 300,000 square feet built up area on 100 acres is very small. So which means ideally one can just do a ground plus one resort project. So looking at this site and looking at all the parameters, it would make sense to make clusters, because we wanted to build something in a sustainable way where you don't cut and you don't landfill anywhere across this 100-acre site. So we've isolated these little hills that are happening naturally on the site, and you found that there are 6 of them, and then a smaller one. So that's the 7th, and a still smaller one, that's the 8th. And there is water flow coming in directly from the hills on the western side, which are much higher. And this water flow happens in the monsoon, and it trickles all through the site. Currently, of course, this is dry. So our idea is that we make this a natural reservoir. So it started the whole site plan like this, that imagine that we build a beautiful river flowing through the entire site, widening up in areas where the land is low, and then creating a lot of public spaces by this river within the site. And then each one of these clusters, based on the contours, will have villas situated organically along the existing contours. So, if one was to look at the site longitudinally, you see this rising into a hill, then it dips down another hill, and then it dips down and another hill like this. So, what if we were to build exactly the way the old organic cities? The ideal one to take as an example is the blue city of Jodhpur below Mehrangarh Fort, and build these little clusters along the hill. So you have a cluster here, then you have a cluster on the next hill, and then you have a cluster again on the next hill. And based on the size of these in diameter, you see how many one can accommodate in a nice way, interspersed with landscape along these hills. So literally the design flows along with the existing contours of the site. So that was the starting point as to how you start. So then one goes more into detail and sees that this section is through this. Now you want to minimize the amount of circulation space. So let's say a road, a pathway that has to lead to these houses comes here. The land goes up on one side and down on one side. So here we place units which are ground plus one entered at the lower level. So that's the basic section. And then here you enter a unit that you enter at the upper level, but that steps down here. Now, what this does is it actually is really integrated with the contours. So, when you look at this from a distance, you see a series of built spaces, and this is minimal cutting. So, you enter a structure at the upper level, go down to the lower level. Here, you enter at the lower level and go up to the upper level. So, this way, the circulation is minimized. And then to draw something which is kind of detailed, you have these modules of the rooms, and they all keep rotating based on the existing contours of the hill. So you've got this nice hill, and then you've got all of these which are literally building on the hill with the contours, and all with a lot of plantation spaces in between, so that finally what you make kind of merges with the site and is barely seen when it's finished. So coming back to the importance of sketching. So only sketching translates ideas directly at a speed that is not possible whichever software you use to design, and also the ease of it, looking at everything at one single time. The requirements, spot section of the site, a site model, an actual scale drawing of the entire model, and the parameters as to which you're to design for. Where are the views? What is the context? Where is the access from? And how one can integrate this into the surroundings. So all of this is available right in front, and that allows you to be able to draw quickly, take informed decisions, looking at all aspects of the design simultaneously. Sketching really is the most easy and fastest way to translate ideas for the initial stages of a design, because you have everything in front of you. You have the site, you have the requirements, you have already done a study of the site, been to it, seen the context, seen the surroundings, and all of that is lying in front of you. So you take an informed decision of multiple factors when you do that first sketch, rather than panning across, using a software, using keys, and going step by step. Here, the process is much faster, and all our designs are started like this. And right from the plan to the section to the elevations and the 3D views are all first completely done in sketch form, and then taken in for proper drafting on AutoCAD or whatever other program, and then translated into real drawings.